Hello and welcome to the Grumpy Stew podcast. My name is Dylan. I am the Grumpy Stew, and this is the podcast for flight attendants. This is episode 44. Thanks for listening. Do me a favor, if you like what you hear, subscribe to the Grumpy Stew podcast on YouTube and visit thegrumpystew.com for everything Grumpy Stew, including exclusive content and links to all the Grumpy socials. And in speaking of exclusive content, from time to time you might catch me, the Grumpy One, on a live stream. You can catch those live streams on YouTube and Facebook, so make sure you are subscribed and following on Facebook so you can get notifications. I have a solidly okay show for you today, plus my usual rants, raves, and aviation news commentary. Hey, did you notice the new theme music? We're going retro. Tell me what you think. But first, a message from our sponsor.
Crack AM, for when you need to stay awake.
I was constantly nodding off on the Jumpseat. But with Crack AM, I'm ready for this fully loaded 747.
Who's ready to fly, bitches?
Man, I don't even know where to start. So much has happened in the aviation world recently, between the lady that tried to breastfeed a cat and the dude that assaulted both a flight attendant and an air marshal, clearly firing on all cylinders. And then there's the dude from Florida that wore a woman's thong on his face in place of a mask as a protest against the mask policy. It's just absurd. But I don't know where to begin. And now, as if all that's not enough, there's a new COVID variant, Omicron. I'm sure you've heard of it. And quite frankly, the longer you anti-vax people hold out, you just give this thing more time and avenues to mutate. That's how this shit works. And before you know it, the virus will evade current vaccines and therapeutics, and we'll be right back where we started. I mean, is that what you want? To go right back to what life was like in early 2020? Is that what you want? I don't understand you people. You won't get vaccinated because you believe patently false propaganda. That's absurdly, comically, provably false. But you try to hide the fact by saying stupid shit like, I don't know what's in it. And I suppose you say that to avoid looking stupid. Well, bad news. You look stupid. You had to be vaccinated just to go to school. You got a tetanus shot when you were like, what, 12, 13, 14? You probably had to get a yellow fever shot when you got hired at your airline. And here's a capper. Some of you, like me, are military veterans, and you were inoculated against about, what, a dozen diseases, including smallpox and anthrax if you deployed in the early 2000s. And you people didn't bitch about not knowing what's in it then, did you? Did you? No, you didn't. You followed orders, you got your fucking inoculations, and you moved on. You didn't have a choice anyway. I don't know what's in it. Right. Ironic, coming from people who eat processed foods almost exclusively. I suppose you know exactly what's in every medication you take, right? And every vitamin you take, every workout supplement, every energy drink, even the booze you drink has additives. I suppose you know what's in it, right? You know the ingredients of every single thing that you put in your body. You know everything that's in there, right? Right? Get over yourselves. Bunch of fucking morons. And here's why you're dumb, or at least maybe not dumb. Maybe that's too... No, you're dumb. But you're also woefully misinformed. And I bet if you were actually honest about this, you'd be nodding your head. Because up until about April or May 2020, when the vaccines were finally becoming more widely available, you guys were all for it. Prior to that, you guys were all for it. The vaccine, everything will get better, the vaccine. And then right around April or May 2020, a certain political party made the cynical calculation that as long as people were getting their shots and the case numbers were going down and the deaths were going down, it made Joe Biden look good. And that fat, bloated orange piece of shit looked worse. And you guys and your little fucking cult just can't handle that. You can't handle it. You can't handle reality. So instead, they decided to lie to people and propagandize people and convince them of crackpot conspiracies that are just fucking bullshit and absurd, all just to keep us sick and perpetuate the problem. They've calculated that as long as they can keep you woefully ignorant, they can own the libs and hang on to their jobs, because that's all that matters to them in their fucking cult. They don't care about you, or your kids, or your parents, or society as a whole. They have no problems burning this motherfucker down just to spite people that aren't in their cult. That's brass tacks right there. Get vaccinated. Get fucking boosted before it's too fucking late. Okay? God damn it, this pisses me off. All right. Off my soapbox. I'm done. Jesus Christ. You know, the energy some of you people waste just to avoid wearing a mask is just unfucking real. I watched a guy eat himself sick just to avoid wearing a mask. They want to play fucking games? We'll play some fucking games. Here's this dude with the industrial-sized bag of goldfish and the big giant movie theater-sized bag of Twizzlers. And you know what he's going to do. He's going to try to nibble on this stuff to avoid having to wear his mask. And I'm like, hey, you know, I want you to enjoy the flight, enjoy your snacks, do your thing. But if you're going to eat those giant bags of crackers and Twizzlers, you're not going to just sit there and nibble on them one little bite at a time. You're going to actually eat like a normal person. I know exactly what you're trying to do. And to his credit, he did just that. He sat there and he shoved that shit in his face for 5 hours and then yacked it all up right before we landed. Play dumbass games, we'll win dumbass prizes. All just to avoid wearing a little fucking mask on his face. There was a longer flight. It was like 5-6 hours. But, you know, us flight attendants, we wear these things our entire day. We wear it from the moment we leave our hotel room until the moment we get to our next hotel room. Easily a 14-15 hour evolution. Yet these people act like it's just a major, like, fucking imposition, like it's a life-changing, like, negative thing. Like it's like suddenly becoming homeless or something, you know, that kind of stress. Just because they gotta wear a mask. And it's not like a secret. They check all the boxes. They agree to all the terms and conditions more than once. Yet, you know, I can't wear this. I can't wear this mask. You know what I'll do? I'll eat this bag of crackers for 5 hours. Brilliant. Go for it, moron. So, as you all know, airlines are bemoaning some staffing shortages on the ground. It's the shitty jobs that are typically outsourced and, you know, low wage jobs nobody wants. You know, like aircraft cleaners and wheelchair pushers, those jobs. And they're having a hard time adequately staffing all of those positions, which led me to yet another brilliant Grumpy Stew idea. All right, hear me out. You know which group of people could really use a steady job? And they'll do anything, literally anything for a check. No job is too shitty for these people. Nonviolent registered sex offenders. Hey, I said nonviolent. We're talking about, you know, guys that got busted for a dick prank gone wrong, or, you know, like maybe flashing grandma in the park or something like that. Nonviolent. These are people that they're just full of love. They're just so full of love they can't help get some of it on you. And who else would be more than happy to help grandma swing by the ladies' room on the way to the next gate? Hell, it'd probably make her day. God knows she hasn't had any action in a couple of decades. It's a perfect match. Or if the idea of nonviolent registered perverts doesn't quite resonate, if you don't like that idea, I got another one. How about this? Children. Not the little ones, like 11, 14-year-olds, you know, not quite legal to work, so you can get around the minimum wage and other regulations. Money-saving idea. And it's about time these little freeloaders start paying their way, you know what I mean? And they'd be perfect for cleaning planes. They're small. They can get into, you know, those cramped spaces, really get in there and do the detail work. The planes would never be cleaner. Just keep them away from the pervert wheelchair pushers.
Do you ever feel less than fresh? Has your hookup last night left you with a painful rectal itch that you just can't reach? Well, now there's Summer's Eve for him, the only daily douche product specifically designed for men. Available in 3 flavors: cream pie, chocolate mousse, and lemon tart. bring new meaning to the phrase, he's a little salty. Summer's Eve for him. Available now.
So, as most of you have probably heard, a lady was kicked off of a flight for attempting to breastfeed a cat. Details are a little sparse, but from what I've been able to gather and piece together, it wasn't, literal breastfeeding. Like, I don't think she got, the cat to latch or anything. It's just the whole thing is ridiculous. I don't think she got the cat to latch. It just cracks me up thinking about it. But, here's a funny detail, though. The cat was one of those creepy hairless breeds that looks like a little pissed off alien. Oh, God. And she had it all swaddled up in a blanket like a baby. Oh, I can't stop laughing. But from what I understand, another passenger approached the crew complaining about this woman breastfeeding. And the crew's like, hey, breastfeeding is okay. We don't shame people for breastfeeding, etc. But, of course, the passenger left out the detail that it was a hairless cat that was being abused by this poor woman. And so the crew goes over there to check it out. And sure as shit, there's Grandma trying to breastfeed a cat. Saggy old tits just flapping in the breeze. The crew's like, first of all, that cat needs to be in the carrier and under a seat. Oh, God. One of the rumors I've heard was the lady rubbed butter on her nipples so the cat would lick it off. I also heard that the cat was howling for dear life. I mean, I guess he just wasn't into nipple play. I don't know. Oh, God, the whole thing is just so absurd. I'm crying. Oh, God. All right, obviously, the cat lady was asked to leave, and it made the fucking news. And apparently, this wasn't the first time something like this happened. It appears there was a similar incident a few years ago. Like, is breastfeeding cats a thing? What the fuck? This immediately has my comedic mind thinking of new consumer products for breastfeeding cats. Kitty on a titty, catnips, knockers and pussies, tits for cats. Jesus Christ. Imagine how chapped that lady's tits have to be. I mean, cat teeth are sharp. Knockers and pussies. That would be a good name for a lesbian bar. There was a restaurant in Vegas called the Pink Taco. I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if it's still there. But I've often said someone should put a gay bar right next to it and call it the Spotted Dick. Or Cocktails. 2 words, cock and tails. The Mouthful. I could probably spend all day coming up with puns for bars and restaurants. Sausage Fest. Evidently, I found a hidden talent, puns for gay bars. One of these days, I want to open a place and call it HSIOW. Holy shit, it's only Wednesday. Totally stole that idea from George Carlin. But I think he's right. People would drink more if they thought it was Wednesday all the time. Oh, God. Okay, so here's this total idiot from Fort Lauderdale that recently got pulled off of a UA flight for using a woman's thong as a mask. And obviously he was removed and placed on their no-fly list after he refused to wear a compliant mask.
Yo, what's going on? Hey, it's still in the Grumpy Stew, the world's grumpiest flight attendant. Here on a Grumpy Stew live stream. Thanks for joining. As you come in, leave a little comment in the little text thingamajigger, and so I know you're here. Let me know if you can hear everything. If you can't hear me, let me know. It's kind of good to know. All right, so the whole purpose of this live stream, it's on my morning run today, thinking about things and all the really negative shit that's been happening lately. And I think it's time we have a talk. The point of this podcast is not to be political. It never was, even though I make jokes about politics occasionally, and occasionally make comments. But, this is a comedy podcast about flight attendants in the airline world that we inhabit. But there's just been a lot of really bad shit happening lately, and it's time we have a talk about it. And frankly, I don't think this is a political issue. This is an American issue. It affects all of us. And I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm not some nut. I'm not some bleeding heart. I'm not an extremist in any way. I'm a gun owner. This is my gun. I own a weapon. This is my gun. I conceal carry when I'm home. That's my permit. I conceal carry. I own a weapon. But here's the thing. I am a responsible gun owner. Responsible gun owner. Gun ownership comes with immense responsibility. I purchased the weapon legally from a registered, licensed dealer. I submitted to more than one background check. I got a background check when I purchased the weapon, another background check when I got my permit. It's 2 background checks. I had to wait, 3 or 4 days to get the gun. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And I'm trained. I'm highly trained. I'm more trained than your average person. I was in the military. I've been trained on everything from rifles to handguns, machine guns. A shoulder-mounted rocket launcher, that anti-tank rocket fucking thing. I know my way around a couple of guns. I'm not some schmuck walking around with a pistol in his pants. No pun intended. But that's where I'm coming from. I'm a gun owner. I'm responsible. I'm well trained. I hope I never have to use the weapon. I went to the range today, in fact. Shooting is a diminishable skill. You got to go to the range every couple months or so, put a few rounds to the weapon, and hone your skill. I hope I never have to use it, but I'm going to be ready. And when I'm not using the weapon, if it's not on my person, it's locked up in a steel box. It's locked up in a steel box. No one has a combination to that box, just me. If someone breaks into my house while I'm on a trip, they can't get their hands on the gun because it's locked up in a steel box. That's like fucking mounted to a wall, all that shit. Many of you are parents, and you have kids in your home, and they got those little hands, and they got those little eyes, and they see everything. They know where you keep shit. They know where you keep that gun. Do you keep your gun just laying around like a fucking moron? Like an irresponsible fucking moron? You know how many kids shoot themselves every year by accident? Or shoot one of their siblings because they've got their hands on your fucking gun because you don't store it properly? That's irresponsible. Completely irresponsible. How many young men get their hands on legally purchased weapons and then go to school and shoot all their classmates? How many times does this have to happen? Because they know where the gun is and they know how to get a hold of it. And this last kid shot up that school in Texas, in Uvalde, legally purchased 2 high-powered rifles on his 18th birthday. How is that even fucking comprehensible? Does anyone think an 18-year-old man has the maturity to purchase and own a weapon responsibly? Does anybody think that's even legitimately on this plane of reality? I mean, is that even comprehensible at all? I don't think so. 19 kids are dead. Little kids. Not like high school kids. Little kids. It was like up to 4th grade or something. I think like some of the oldest victims were 10. I have nephews. I have a niece. I have a cousin that's still school age. I worry about them every day. And they live in Texas. I worry about them every day. I have a nephew that is starting high school soon. He's at that ripe age where he's a target for a fucking asshole like this last kid that shot up his school. It concerns me. He's got a little brother and little sister right behind him that will be starting school in the next year or two. This is something that we've decided as a country that instead of doing something about this, we've decided instead to teach kids how to hide and barricade and run away instead of doing something about this issue. On what plane does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. It's completely disgusting. I agree with Nicole. It's fucked up. This is a uniquely American phenomenon. You don't see this happening in other first world nations, with very, very few exceptions. So what's the difference? Don't tell me it's video games and movies. Let's stop the bullshit for just a fucking second here and get real. We aren't the only consumers of video games and movies on this planet. Everybody else on this fucking planet is watching the exact same movies we're watching and playing the exact same video games we're playing. And this isn't new. I'm almost 42 years old and video games have been around my entire existence. You don't see me shooting up a Walmart. So what's the difference between us and everybody else? And you can legally own a firearm in other countries. It's just highly regulated. That's the big difference. That is the big difference. You take Japan, for example. People own guns. Not a lot of people, but people do own guns. But they have to be locked up. They have to be stored a certain way. They have to be licensed, insured. They have random inspections, all kinds of crazy shit. But it's a big responsibility, and they take it seriously. But we don't. And you got these fucking pussies walking around their local Walmart open carrying a rifle or a big fucking pistol of some sort. Open carry is for pussies. You are a fucking pussy if you have to open carry. You are a pussy. You know why? Because you're a fucking terrorist. The only reason that you are open carrying a weapon is to scare people. That's it. You're trying to terrorize people. You are a terrorist. What does this teach your kids? Think about it. What does this teach your kids? I don't have kids. I'm not going to have kids. And it's no secret I don't like kids. But I don't think they should be going to school and getting shot. I think they should be able to go to school and get their education and go home to their parents. I don't think that's unreasonable. When I was a kid, we had tornado drills. Now kids have active shooter drills. That is fucked up. That is fucked up. We have only ourselves to blame because we refuse to do anything about this. It's all on us, the adults. It's completely our fault because we don't hold our elected representatives responsible. We don't hold their feet to the fire. We don't demand action. And there are reasonable things that can be done to at least mitigate this senseless
violence. Yep, these pro-life people, they're so fucking pro-life, they'll force you to have a fucking baby you don't want and can't afford. But the minute that kid's born, well, all bets are off. You're on your own. They're not going to help you feed it, not going to help you clothe it, not going to help you educate it, and they're going to give some asshole a gun so they can go and shoot your kid at school. It's not right. That's not right. If you have a better idea, I'd like to hear it. But I don't know. What do we do? Does anyone really think that 18 is an appropriate age to walk into a gun store and buy a weapon? I mean, honestly, is that a reasonable age? I mean, I know that person can vote and smoke, and they have to sign the selective service card, and they can join the military. No, and I get it. And let's say that person does join the military at 18. They're going to be trained on that weapon properly. And when they're not using that weapon, it's locked up in the armory, period. They can't just go to the armory and access it. It's locked up. You can't just go to the armory anytime you want. You know, they go to the range every so often. They go to the armory every so often to maintain the weapon. But does anyone think that someone whose brain is not fully developed, an 18-year-old child, is responsible enough, capable of the immense responsibility of owning this? Really? I personally have my doubts, but that's my opinion. I'd like to know what you think. You know, Texas is kind of a screwed up place. For lots of reasons. There's a reason I don't live there anymore. But recently, I don't know how recent, within the last, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's within the last 2 years, they've passed laws that enable someone to carry weapons into a bar. Now, granted, it's not a surprise. This is the same state that has drive-through beer barns, where you can drive through and get beer. It's only the drunk driving capital of the planet, but you can drive through and get a beer. What could go wrong? Well, they decided, well, if you're going to drive through and get beer, you might as well drive up to your local watering hole and carry your gun with you. What could possibly go wrong? Testosterone, high-powered weapons, booze. What could possibly go wrong? There was a massive shooting in Houston, 2 weeks ago? Like 20 people died at a bar. There was a shooting at a bar. What could possibly go wrong? When I'm carrying out in public, I don't drink. Not one drop. Because I'm responsible. You know, I think one potential solution is everyone who owns a weapon has to have insurance. Some sort of liability insurance. Protects the owner, protects the people that could be potentially hurt accidentally. There should be insurance involved. And if this shit doesn't get under control, then they should just make the insurance so fucking expensive no one can afford it. Just like car insurance. If you're a bad driver, you can't afford your insurance. What do? I don't know. Anybody have any better ideas? Let me know. But it's out of control. It's not cool. It's not okay. It stopped being okay a long time ago. But, you know, the funny thing is with Sandy Hook, that was a lot of kids that were slaughtered. A lot of kids. And people are like, well, thoughts and prayers. Yeah, can't do anything but thought,
Thoughts and prayers. That's your thoughts and prayers right there. Suck on that with your thoughts and prayers. It's horse shit. Complete horse shit. I'm really at a loss of words. And people don't think it's going to happen to them until it does happen to them. Until it's your kid that you have to identify at the morgue. That's what 19 families in Texas are doing right now. Identifying their kids and making funeral arrangements for their 10-year-old kid. Their life hasn't even started yet. It's not right. You know, I often say that we don't have rights in this country. We have privileges. Because privileges can be taken away. Point in fact, Supreme Court just decided that women don't have a right to privacy or a right to reproductive health because it's not literally spelled out in the Constitution. That which is just an asinine decision. They decided that Roe was improperly decided because privacy is not spelled out literally, word for word, in the Constitution. Well, you know what else is not spelled out in the Constitution? Your fucking gun is not spelled out in the Constitution. If we're going to take a literal interpretation, what does the Second Amendment say? It says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Does that say Bubba takes his gun to Walmart? Does that say your boyfriend could go get drunk, buy a gun, and go kill your parents just for fun? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Does that mean everybody? Or some people? I mean, how do we define this? It's completely out of control. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Leave a comment. We'll talk about it. Let's see here. I've got a few comments here. 50 Republican senators holding the country hostage for greed and power. That's probably not too far off the mark because they are beholden to the gun lobby. The NRA has these people by the balls. Ted Cruz, senator from Texas, if I'm not mistaken, he is the largest recipient of gun lobby dollars, if I'm not mistaken. But he's complete trash anyway. He's filthy. So that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. In fact, I think he's speaking at an NRA event. Was it today or tomorrow? Sometime very soon, if not today. Well timed, of course. Because these people are fucking sick. Oh, I didn't know this, but you can't smoke in Texas until you're 21. Is that correct? I didn't know that. But you can go walk into the gun store, buy a high-powered rifle. No questions asked, apparently. Let's see. Nicole says, if a bunch of women show up at the Capitol with their freedom fighters, we could knock out two birds with one stone. Interesting concept. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Perhaps you can help me out here. But it's time we have this talk. Okay, so the NRA event is on Friday in Houston. What's today? Wednesday? So in 2 days. Cruz and Abbott. Abbott being the governor of Texas. Gee, I wonder what they're going to talk about at the NRA event. Are they going to talk to a bunch of gun owners about responsible gun ownership? And maybe talking to your children about anger management and don't touch my fucking gun. I mean, is your gun locked up? Do you know where your gun is right now? Do you have a teenage boy in your home? Have you thought about this? Even recently, do you have a teenage boy in your home? Where is your gun? Does he know where it is? Does he know the combination? Is it even locked up? Well, maybe you have some questions to ask your son. It's interesting. These young men, they're basically children. These young men, I think 18 to 24, make up about 16% of our population, but they are responsible for more than 50% of gun deaths in this country. 16% of the population is responsible for 50% or more of gun deaths in this country. That's an interesting fact. So if you've got a young man in your house, where is your gun? Does he know the combination? Maybe you should change the combination. Maybe you should get a real fucking safe or box. Maybe you should think about the security of your weapon. Be responsible. It's so messed up. I have, obviously I have a lot of colleagues and friends that have children. Some are young, some are older. I have colleagues that have young adult boys in their teens and early 20s. And not only are they young men and prone to, impulsive behavior that we're all prone to, but they're also black. And imagine the anxiety that their parents live with every day, wondering if their black son is going to be the next one. The gun violence is out of control. It's not video games. It's not movies. That's stupid. Stupid. Stupid bullshit. It's a big smokescreen to take your attention away from the actual problem. So when I told you about my weapon and how I purchased it, I was making a point there that when I said I purchased it from a licensed dealer, I didn't go to a gun store and buy it from some schmuck at the gun show. Sorry, I didn't go to a gun show and buy it from some schmuck. I went to a licensed dealer and filled out the forms and did the background check, because that's responsible. I didn't do a straw purchase. I didn't talk a friend or a neighbor into making the purchase for me and then just giving him the cash, because I can't pass a background check. Straw purchases, for the record, in most states, perfectly legal. You can straw purchase a gun in just about any state, with few exceptions. Perfectly legal. It is illegal to straw purchase a car, but you can straw purchase a gun. Perfectly legal. Private sales? Very few questions asked. So this whole concept of, if we regulate guns and manage them and devise policies and ways to control them and keep them out of the wrong hands, that means only the bad guys will have guns. The bad guys can legally purchase guns with or without regulation, because that's how big the fucking loopholes are. You can drive a truck through them. Anybody can buy a gun in this country. Anybody. Legally buy a gun. Anybody. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're fresh out of jail. You pay cash to someone that you know that can buy the gun for you. Or a private sale. Or a straw purchase. Or a gun show. There are lots of ways to get a gun. And no one gives a fuck. Nah, whatever. As long as the good guys have them. Well, I bet that gun dealer thought that 18-year-old kid was a good guy when he bought 2 rifles from him. No questions asked.
Live and learn, I guess. Anybody else have any ideas? Oh, wait a minute. I think there's only like 2 people watching anyway. So on the Instagram, on the Grumpy Stew Instagram, I've got what? I don't know. I've been floating around 3,000 followers, give or take, for a little while. And I think I made a comment or shared a story about, was it abortion? I don't know. And then some nut job follower flipped out, said, "Stick to airline humor. How dare you? Democrats are racist and Black Lives Matter." Okay. Okay, Karen. I'm out of here. Goodbye. Good luck. I don't fucking need you. If you guys don't like the content, don't follow me. Good luck. Good luck. I don't need you. I want to be perfectly fucking clear here. I don't make any money off of this. It costs me money to do this shit. I don't make a dime. I get nothing out of this. Nothing. Out of this, besides the satisfaction of maybe, hopefully making you laugh. That is the only satisfaction I get out of this. I don't get shit beyond that, which is fine by me. I wouldn't keep doing it if it was a problem. I'm out of here. Good luck. Fuck you. I don't fucking need you. But anyway, the point is, if you don't like it, just keep on scrolling. That's fine. Jeez. Be an adult about it. You don't have to announce your departure. I don't know why people think they have to do that. One comment is maybe we should hold dealers accountable. Yeah. I mean, if a bartender overserves someone and they go and kill somebody on the street, it's happened, but bartenders and establishments have been sued because some asshole drove drunk and killed someone. That's not out of the question. So if we can hold owners of bars responsible and bartenders responsible for over-serving, maybe we can hold gun dealers responsible. But then again, you don't necessarily have to buy a gun from a dealer. You can buy a gun anywhere. So you'd have to control that. Only licensed dealers can sell firearms. I mean, that would be step one. So you can hold them responsible. Straw purchases should absolutely be illegal. Gun shows. Licensed dealers should be able to sell their weapons. Unlicensed dealers, no. But, licensed dealers, yeah, I don't see, because they'd have to perform the background checks and all that shit. But then there are things like what are they called? The magazines that, the term escapes me at the moment. Like the standard magazine that comes with my handgun. One's a 10-round magazine, the other one's a 13-round magazine. But you can buy these magazines that hold 15, 20, 30 rounds, and you just keep shooting without reloading. And the same is available for things like the AR-15, which no one fucking needs, and the AK-47, the M16, and yada yada. No one fucking needs these guns. No one fucking needs an AR-15. No one. There is no practical purpose for an AR-15 or an AK-47 or anything of that nature. There's no practical purpose in civilian world. Even home defense, it doesn't even make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. First of all, you're going to miss, and that round's going to go through a wall and hit somebody else. That's first. Secondly, you don't fucking need it. No one does. And no one needs a 50 cal either. No one needs that shit. That's not even reasonable. But yeah, these what are they called? The magazines that hold more rounds than typical. I forget what they're called, high volume or whatever. That shouldn't even be available. No one needs that shit. No one needs that shit. If you can't put someone down in 10 to 13 rounds, you're fucked up. You have no business with that weapon. If you can't hit your target, I'm sorry. 2 should be enough, really, but you can't hit them in 10. Jesus Christ, get some help. The other concern out there is people that 3D print plastic guns that you can easily get through TSA. The ammo would be another question. That would probably get picked up, but plastic guns that are compartmentalized, so you can disassemble them into several different pieces. So you put, one piece here, one piece there, one piece in that bag, one piece in that bag. They would never know you have it. They would never know, ever, because it wouldn't look like a gun. And then you put it together, and then you do your thing. Entirely possible. That's not outside the realm of possibility. Pretty concerning, really. That's how you get past metal detectors. It would work at your kid's school, too. It's completely messed up. I'm so pissed off. How many more kids have to die because it's my right? Is it really? I mean, really? Is it a well-regulated militia? Okay, Geach and Cooter. What militia are you in that's officially state sanctioned? I'd like to know. Where did you get your training? Open carry at fucking Walmart. You're a fucking pussy. You're a fucking pussy. You're just scaring people needlessly. Conceal. Conceal carry. Conceal it. No one has to know. No one knows what I'm carrying. Nobody knows. Because I conceal it. Someone asked me, do you really need to carry your gun to go to the supermarket? Yes, I do. I do. It's concealed, but I have it. And the bottom line is we don't get to pick and choose if and when bad things happen. And I don't want to hear, well, put guns in schools. Well, that's not a fucking solution. That is asinine. Some disgruntled teacher goes on a rampage. Is that what you want? Not only are they overworked and underpaid, now you want them to carry firearms into the classroom? I bet the capper would be, oh, by the way, you got to pay for that $700 gun and pay for the training on your $30,000 salary that, is barely enough to keep food on your table. Yeah. Well, I'm going to conclude the Grumpy live stream. I think I've said enough. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment thing, either on the Facebook or on the YouTube. If you're just completely turned off by today's conversation, unfollow me. That's fine. No hard feelings. You do you. That's fine. We're all adults, right? But I hope we don't have to talk about this again. It's gone too far. I hope your kids are safe. I hope they get the high-quality education that they deserve in a safe environment that they deserve. I hope you get to bring them home every day. And, I don't wish these things on anybody, especially children that can't do anything about it. That's not cool. So, take care. And good luck out there. Sounds like you might need it.